It's an interesting picture I got for all of you guys on the screen here. Well, it was a typical day in the house. Sisters are at school, dad is in the office, mom's sewing something, and my grandmom's watching TV. There's this little 4-year-old kid, who's playing around the house with everything that he can get his hands on. And something interesting happened, and something caught his attention. It was a Bollywood film where a car chase scene was playing on the TV, and the hero was chasing the bad guys. Looked exciting, thrilling, steering wheel turning, tires screeching, and a million gear shifts. The kid was in awe. He was hooked on to the scene. The next thing he sees is his mother's sewing machine with a steering wheel looking like thing on the side. The boy was determined to do something to reach that height so he can pull a chair with all his might and climbs on to touch the wheel. And the kid got his hands on his first car ever. He loved it. He cherished it, and little did anyone imagine that moment would translate into something extraordinary. The lucky sewing machine was being handled by a future national champion. This was the moment I fell in love with cars and driving. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and good morning. My name is Pratik. I'm a professional marketer, a self-coached racing driver, and the Indian national car racing champion. Over the past year, I've been successful in delivering results in my job, secured promotions, won a national champion title in motorsport, and kept myself in the best shape mentally and physically. Are you all ready? Let's go for a little ride. It is August 2019. We are in Chennai at the Madras International Circuit, one of my career's most thrilling race weekends. It's peak monsoons, and I was leading the Indian National Championship with about 4 races to go. Started second race of the weekend in 10th position behind a safety car. It was raining heavily. I climbed up from 10th to 1st in 4 laps itself. I was lapping 5 seconds faster than the rest of the grid. And 5 seconds a lap faster in racing means a lifetime. Operating in a different dimension, I was finding grip on the track like finding stars in the night sky. My strategist had to wave at me through the pit wall, asking me to slow it down. And in the process of driving conservatively, I crashed. I went head-on into a tire wall at 112 kilometers an hour. For reference, it's coming to a standstill from 100 kilometers an hour in 12.9 milliseconds. The car was heavily damaged, maybe undrivable for the next race, and the championship score compromised, as I would not score a single point due to the crash. The next race was a couple of hours away, and all the time, the team had to fix the car and bring it back into one piece. Honestly, it looked impossible, and it felt like we had lost the hope of fighting for the national championship. The team was working tirelessly, and the stakes were never higher. Unable to contribute in any way possible, I was wondering what is going to transpire. The rain had stopped, and the sound of race cars had slowed down, adding to the intensity of the situation. Looking at the Indian national flag on my helmet, I was wondering, is this how it's going to be? Coming so close to winning the title, or so close to achieving the dream, and it all getting lost just by a mere crash? Well, in that moment, the 3 colors of the Indian national flag had so many different shades, like the several notes of a musical instrument, singing in their own glory. About 15 minutes before the pit lane opened, and the car started rolling out to line up for the race, my car was still hanging halfway in the air. It was being taken apart. And I'm in my racing suit by now, right? And optimistic to get into the driving seat and get going. Like, racing does that to you. You just can't wait to get into the seat and get going. Uncountable repairs were made to the car. And now finally the pit lane opened. My car's still hanging, and the pit lane opened, and my competitors, my fellow drivers, they're all going out. They're taking their cars out to line up for the race. And I'm still not sure if my car's getting repaired or not. On the other hand, I was prepared. I was ready to take on the challenge that was coming my way for this race. I was ready to fight the odds. I was ready to win. And racing does that to us. Staring in the face of risk, we bunch find a way to toy with thrill as we are pushing the machines to their limits and dancing on knife's edge. All the competitors drove out of the pit lane, and I'm still there, alone, wondering if my car's getting back into one piece or not. The pit lane never felt so quiet and empty. My heart was thumping. And finally, the car was put down on all 4 wheels. Final checks are going on before I fire up the engine. And 10 seconds later, the bonnet is closed and the car is ready to roll. With high fives and applause and a good luck greeting, I head on to the racetrack. I get 1 lap. So in racing, once the car goes out of the pit lane, you get 1 out lap before you line up on the grid. Then you get a formation lap, and then you again line up on the grid, and that's when the race starts. So the 1 lap that I got, I had the chance to test every aspect I possibly could, before I pushed the car again to its limits during the race. And this was minutes before the race start. So I start doing what I do best. I perform 20 different tests in that 1 lap to check the car. We check engine, clear, gears are good, shifts are crisp, power is spot on, and brakes are sweet. Now I'm confident that the car is ready. I reach the starting grid and I'm in my zone. Whatever happened in the past couple of hours did not matter. In that moment, I was ready to race. Moments away from the race start, the stakes were high. I was starting fifth, and I was eager to get going. The race was 8 laps long, and 8 times I was going to have to face the same corner that I crashed at a few hours ago. I was battling the fear of my crash with the sword of determination. Coming back to the race start, the lights go out, and by lights go out, I mean the race starts. My mind was empty. The only thought in my brain was the race, the process of driving consistently and at the limit. The concern had turned into excitement, the frustration had turned into happiness, and there was an innocent smile on my face, because I was still the 4-year-old kid who played on my mom's sewing machine, thinking it's a car. There was nothing in that moment that mattered to me, just the sheer happiness of being able to drive, to race, and to go as fast as I can. 8 laps later, I had won the race by a 5-second margin, giving me enough points to get back to leading the national championship. From losing it to winning it back in a few hours, filled with 3 colors of emotion, temperament, and resolve. But the ability to pull myself together and push the boundaries of operating in the present moment allowed me to tap into my peak performance and deliver. This experience taught me the power of determination. This was possible thanks to my strong underpinning from my school life, a memory that will guide me for years to come. Changing school every 2 years always made me the new kid in class. So it was only until 8th grade that I joined a school which was going to keep me for more than 2 years. And by keep me, I mean I had to switch schools because my father was a government officer. But this was the school that I knew I was going to stay around for 3 years. I always wanted to, be in the sports team, and, I never got a chance to join them because I kept switching schools, wondering if I could be in a situation to captain the athletics team or be regarded as the fastest runner at the school. In 8th grade, I was selected in the relay team as the first substitute, and I witnessed something special. It was the annual sports day in the month of December 2006. Before the start of the relay race, our house teacher spoke to the captain, and they had a dialogue out of which I only remember a snippet. The teacher said to the captain, "You're the fastest runner of the school. We have to win this." I cannot recollect the rest of the conversation, but after witnessing it, it was my dream to experience something similar, that I could be regarded as the best at something. And later I moved on and forgot about that moment completely. Fast forward to my last year at school. I'm in 10th grade. We are approaching the sports day in a couple of months. And because I was in 10th, my parents wanted me to focus on studies, and sports was off the table. But here, I promised myself to get at least a bronze medal as a memory from my school life. And I started practicing and putting in some intense work for it. And for real, I mean intense. It meant running in a pair of denims and a t-shirt for 15 minutes in the morning before leaving for school. That was it. A few weeks of just running around in denims and a t-shirt. Turning up to the sports day, I started winning medals from the first day itself. Now, in order to get a shot at winning a bronze, and again, I stress on the bronze part of it, to winning a bronze, I borrowed a pair of spikes, running spikes, from a friend of mine who was in a different school, and he was kind enough to lend me a pair. I took what I got, I turned up on day 1, and as I said, all I wanted was a bronze, and I was willing to do anything to get it. And this part is important. In 10th standard, a 10th standard scrawny kid who was willing to do anything it takes to win a bronze. Well, first day I won the heats and got selected for the finals the next day, which gave me a great shot at securing the bronze. On my way home, I had to return my borrowed spikes to my friend, and now I had no shoes to race with. My mom overheard this conversation of mine with my sister, and she asked me to go and get the best pair of spikes out there within 1,000 rupees and give it my best shot the next morning. I screwed and unscrewed all of those nails on the spikes through the night at least 5 times. I even slept with the spikes next to my pillow. I was so excited, I couldn't sleep. And, I was a 10th standard kid, young, got a new pair of spikes. I have this confidence that, I'm going to go tomorrow and get a bronze. That's for sure. I'm getting a bronze, guys, no matter what happens. Well, day 2 started with mom packing my tiffin for the finals. She knew it was a big day. And the day progressed in a completely unexpected fashion. I started with winning a silver medal in 100 meters, followed by a gold in 200, followed by another gold in 400, and suddenly I was the talk of the town. The house captain started reaching out to me for joining the relay team, and relay was the highlight event of sports days, right? It was during the end of it. With my recent performance, my name was the top choice to captain my house team. And that time there was a junior who had just returned from a competition, and he was experienced in athletics. I asked him to run the last leg of relay, and I said, I will take the penultimate leg. And we made this plan, and while discussing it with the house teacher, something miraculous happened. The same house teacher from a couple of years ago, she stood in front of me, and she said something that triggered a flood of emotions. She's like, "You're the fastest runner of the school. We have to win this. You should run last." Not only did I experience something wonderful here, but by the end of it all, I ended up winning the Best Athlete of the Year shield. And yes, we did manage to get a gold in relay. But now if you're wondering what about my bronze medal, I think you might have been a little worried about it. Well, I won everything but a bronze medal. These two experiences came over a decade apart and shared a strong connection. In school, I raced on a mud track with my feet. And later, about a decade later, I've been racing on an asphalt track with my car. But both of these experiences reflect my innate desire to win. The sheer acceptance of being ready to do whatever it took to reach my goal, the experience created an unshakable belief within me to conquer my self-doubt and put in the work. The experience taught me the dividends of effort. Little did I know that it was going to guide me 15 years later to achieve something extraordinary, my national title. This experience is perhaps one of the most extraordinary journeys of my life, where my preparation elevated me to a level where even my average performance was enough to win. As I recall, it's October 2022. I had just returned from my business trip. It's been a few weeks that I've been thinking about participating in the national championship, and I'm living a life of a 9 to 5-year-old employee. I mean, it's boring, it's monotonous, it's predictable, guys. You don't do much. You wake up, you suit up, you go, you come back, you're tired, you want to scroll on Instagram and go to bed, and perhaps find a way to complain a little bit about it. I felt like there was no way I could make time after work to practice for the races and follow the fitness routine to prepare for the nationals. It had to be a level of effort that I have never put in prior in my career. So I set out on my campaign to chase the impossible, perhaps do something insane. This was the measure of my obsession, the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. I've been racing professionally since a decade now. In 2019, I achieved the runners-up spot in the national championship and lost the title just by a handful of points. And by handful, I mean 2 points. I was so close, yet so far. Since then, I've been raring to get back into a race car and clinch the title. This journey in 2022, towards the end of 2022, was a long stint of managing a full-time job, training for the sport, learning, strategizing, and building physical fitness. I woke up every morning at 6 a.m., freshen up, open my plan of action that was devised the night before. I get my protein shake and a couple of bananas, and I attack my plan of action. Meditation, race training, strategy, before I head to my full-time job. I've already put in the work. When I turn up to talk shop in the office, I already know what I've done in the previous few hours. I could wake up sad, tired, angry, with a headache, with a body ache. I'm still going to do what is on my plan. It was the first step in breathing, thinking, moving, and training like a champion. Focused through the day with meetings, projects, and tasks, I carried momentum from the morning into work. I finished my work, and now the second part of my routine begins. A 60-minute workout about 3 to 4 times a week. And the rest of the days, I'm committed to additional race training, strategy, and mindfulness after work. There were no days off. There was no partying, no distractions, all procrastination. Just old school dedication. Before I left for my first race, my colleagues in the office had a small gathering to wish me the best for the season. They are the ones who had seen an obsessed athlete operating through the day, turning up before the janitors, last one to leave. I gave a small speech which concluded, of course the speech was long, but it concluded with something, and I quote, "I have chased my dreams long enough to make a subtle change to this statement. Today, I'm not going out there to chase my dream, but I'm going out there to hunt my dream." That was the intent I carried when I flew out for my first race weekend in 2022. The first race of the season, I was at the starting grid, thinking about how everything that had happened in the past has led me to getting another shot at this. Remembering so many distinct moments, like a movie playing on my race car windshield. It was pretty cool. I knew this was my chance at bringing it home. I knew I could feel it. I had faith and I trusted the process. I knew this year the game was going to be long. I knew there was not a sprint, it was a marathon. Oh, let me say it cooler. It was a marathon, not a sprint. I remember losing the title in the last race of a season, and this time I was not ready to let it go to the last race of the season. I was prepared to win. The season comprised of 8 back-to-back races spread across 2 race weekends. And by race weekends, I mean we operate Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So 4 races on the first weekend, followed by another 4 the next one. Little to no margin of error. If you crash, you're going to miss out on a race. My performance through the championship was average, yet I managed to get 6 podiums in those 8 races. That was a staggering 80% podium finishes in a championship. That's what set me apart. Let's talk fitness. Now that we are talking about winning, we're talking about consistency, we're talking about 6 podiums out of 8 races. I work out about 150 times a year. That's less than half the number of days in a year. Fitness plays a significant role in motorsport when you're battling in split-second decisions and going close to 200 kilometers an hour. Hand-eye coordination to maximize your pace, strengthen your muscles in order to absorb the G-forces, a strong core to balance yourself, hydration levels to maintain optimum muscle-to-brain connection are crucial factors that lead to performance. It all adds up. It's like a recipe. Let's talk mental composure. In a three-way battle during a race, incredible amount of focus is required to operate and execute an attack or defense, all while you're driving at speeds of 150 kilometers an hour. There's heat, there's a driver attacking you from behind, the one you're chasing, you're trying to attack him, there's someone else attacking you, and still you have to find a way to dance beautifully in the middle of this chaos. A composed mind plays a crucial role to pull this off. A healthy lifestyle and meditation are key to success. Racing drivers require a lot of track time and training in order to consistently perform at the highest levels. Not as easy as straightforward as it looks or as it's perceived to be. It's more than meets the eye. Annually, professional racers spend 20+ weekends onto a racetrack. So where did I find my purple sector? How did I manage to pull off a heist with little to no time? Let us find out. The key to my results lied in the first 3 hours of the day, of what I call the first 3-hour principle. It starts with splitting your first 3 hours into actionable plan. Meditation, healthy meal, race prep, and strategy. This may sound simple and straightforward. However, there are battles to fight. To accomplish this for a straight 100 days with no days off. Impulses, emotions, mood, procrastination, complacency, everything comes knocking on the door. My morning ritual was creating a profound impact on my ability to improve my cognition and control my impulses. As days passed, I realized that my sensitivity towards distractions was reducing. My ability to impulse control was growing. Within days, I could focus more effectively. The first 3-hour principle helped me sharpen my composure during races and had me focused and relaxed through my training, learning, and even dogfights during a race. When I look back at my progress, I realized I was not progressing in the mornings, but due to the momentum it created. By the end of each day, I felt a twofold increase in my productivity. My sense of achievement doubled, confidence doubled, and it prepared me to perform unconditionally. The first 3-hour principle deploys countermeasures to help you take well-thought and impactful steps towards your goals. Here is how it works. Step 1, prepare a plan that is a roadmap to achieving your goal. This could be the skill you want or the fitness you need to build. Create steps like making an omelet, simple steps tied into one another. Step 2, check how you feel, acknowledge it. Remember, acknowledge how you feel and get on top of your plan. Do not let emotions or feelings influence your actions. Step 3, execute the plan and complete it. Attend to your emotions, moods, impulses once the 3 hours are completed. And now, there's no fourth step, but it's important to have faith in the process. If you exercise the first 3-hour principle into your life for even as long as 15 days, you will gain enough momentum that your goals will feel like a walk in the park. Imagine where we can reach if the 3-hour principle becomes our lifestyle. That is all, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go break some eggs.